In this video, we're going to talk about why I can't stand wash and goes and how I spent over a decade in the hair industry fighting against team and natural hacks that end up like this. So keep watching. Before we get started, make sure you go ahead and subscribe here to my channel and then click on that bell notification so you're notified every time I post another video. I've been in the hair industry for well over a decade, so the things that I say are based on facts, not opinion. Detangling shampoo if you are going to comb it out wet. I said, no, you're wrong. The hair is weakest when wet. You never detangle with shampoo. You detangle with oil before you break the bond. Keep learning. She says, I've been doing hair years. I know what I'm talking about. The hair is weakest when it is dry and brittle. So, you guys, after over a decade in this industry, I have been fixing the hair of women who think like this. This woman here in front of you does not have a relaxer or heat damage. Her hair looks like this from hydro fatigue and from a hair shaft disorder, from wetting the hair all the time and from doing wash and goes, which we'll talk about again in a second, because I think that a lot of people are really confused. All right. Now, the hair is definitely weakest when it is wet. Hair is primarily composed of a protein called keratin, and when it is wet, the hydrogen bonds within the hair shaft temporarily break. This weakening is due to the water distributing the protein structure, making the hair more susceptible to stretching and breaking. So, understanding that the hair is a fiber that is weakest when it is wet, that lets you know that the thing that you have to do first is make sure you detangle your hair when it is dry, because if you don't, you will cause massive breakage throughout the hair shaft. Now, let's talk about the bonds that hold the hair together. These are the three bonds that hold your hair shaft together. Now, the hydrogen bond is the one that I am working with right now whenever I give somebody a silk press. The hydrogen bond is the temporary bond within the hair shaft that is broken by water. And right now, I'm taking her hair from alpha keratin to beta keratin. Alpha keratin is the state that your hair is in when it is like wet, when it's unstretched or anything. And beta keratin is the new state that it is in until the bond is broken again with water. Okay. The Another bond in the hair is the salt bond. Now, the salt bond is broken with highly acidic products, really highly acidic products. So, if you are a person who uses apple cider vinegar, rice water, or any of those homemade products, you guys, it is crazy how much the hair shaft breaks down. And when the salt bond is broken, the salt bond being broken and damaged can widely affect the way that your hair shaft looks. In this case, a lot of people will notice a change in their hair shaft, a change in their texture, a change in their curl pattern after a long period of time of being natural. And that's why you'll do a big chop. You haven't put heat on your hair, but you're noticing a change in your curl pattern. Well, that is because different things like apple cider vinegar and different things like rice water and all of these different things that we've been trying out break down the salt bond within the hair shaft, and this in return gives you a change in the curl pattern that looks like or resembles what most people would call heat damage. And now the disulfide bond, this is the permanent bond in the hair. The salt bond and the hydrogen bond are supposed to be temporary bonds, and the only permanent bond is the disulfide bond. Now, the disulfide bond is the bond that we break when I'm relaxing your hair or when I am coloring your hair. But it can also be broken if I use heat. I can either do controlled heat training or it can be done by mistake. I can break the bonds down by mistake with using a flat iron improperly. But when it comes to hair damage, you guys, the main form of damage that I worked against, throughout my career of over a decade in this hair industry was damage to the salt bond and the hydrogen bond of the hair shaft from women who have this type of mentality from Team Natural. Okay. And even before Team Natural, there are a lot of practices that we've picked up from previous generations that do not hold value anymore, you guys, because they put us in this situation. And the thing is, you're never too old to learn. Like, I have a 11-year-old daughter that taught me something the other day. Like, you're never too old to learn. But if we become so prideful, if we become so, combative, then we're never able to learn anything. So in this case, me and her had a talk. She really was just wanting to like jump off the deep end. She was like, come on, let's do a pixie, right? But then she told me that she talked to her mom, and her mom told her that like, oh, to call her when she get done because she knows she gonna cry. And anytime I have a client like that who's like, oh, I'm gonna cry if I cut it, I don't do it because I just don't. I just don't. So I didn't cut it. In this case, we just went ahead and did a bob. Now, the reason that I don't like wash and go is because, for one, it was not until I did a full scalp detox and hair shaft detox that she saw the true texture of her hair. And this is a hair shaft disorder that she actually has. If you've ever straightened your hair before and then noticed that no matter what you do, the ends look a little frizzy, or like throughout the middle of the hair shaft is really frizzy, but maybe the ends are a little smooth and the top part is a little smooth, or you just notice your ends are really, really frizzy no matter what you do, even if you get a little bit of a trim. Well, this is a hair shaft disorder that is caused by Team Natural. I know that you think that when you do a wash and go, you're doing something good for the hair, but let's talk about it. For one, the human scalp has 100,000 follicles. Each follicle has 1 to 4 strands. Even though you do a wash and go, you pick up a diffuser really quick, a diffuser is not drying all 100,000 to 400,000 strands of your hair at one time, right? And then on top of that, every time you come back home, or anytime you go to style your hair, you have to break the hydrogen bond again. Now, most people will say, oh no, I'm not breaking it with water. I'm using a cream or a gel. Well, my love, those are all polymers that are made with water. That is why when you use a cream, you'll see your curl pattern come back a little bit. That's because it's breaking the hydrogen bond in your hair. A gel, when you look at the ingredients, the gel is primarily made with water. You're breaking the hydrogen bond in the hair. So every time you break the hydrogen bond, you cause the cuticle to swell. And when the cuticle swells, the follicle also swells because your hair shaft is still attached to the follicle. So whenever you wet the hair, whether it is with a water bottle or with a cream or with a gel or with a mousse, whatever you're using to reset your curls for your wash and go, every time you use those products, you cause the follicle to swell. And the thing is, the Team Natural thing has been going on for like the last 12 to 13 years, but hydro fatigue, it takes anywhere between 6 weeks and 25 years to show up. So a lot of people are like, oh, well, I've been doing it for a while, and it's great. And even the person who said it before, I wasn't being rude, but if you go look at her photo, it looks a lot like how her hair started off to begin with. And this is why I really want us to be able to have these conversations. I want to say thank you to
Now,
this
her
woman. Initial comment was rather combative, like the first person in this video, but I guess she watched a couple of videos and decided to change her tune. And I want us all to get to a place where we can just learn new things. Nobody knows everything. Nobody knows everything. So we have to get to a point where we can listen to the people who have the most experience in these areas and compare notes, because I literally stopped doing hair so I can come out of the industry so I can teach this, because this was my job. Literally every single day that I went to work, I was repairing Team Natural damage. So I'm not against it, trying to get views and things of that nature. From my heart, I really want to help you guys because initially you think that you're helping, you think that you're doing something right, but you guys, your hair is not supposed to be detangled wet. Your hair is not supposed to be wet daily. And if you are using creams in your hair every day, that's the problem. One conversation me and her were having as I was doing her hair was, even though she thought a wash and go was the best thing for her, I let her know that if you cannot style your hair without using a bunch of products, if a hairstyle cannot be maintained without just a leave-in conditioner and maybe a serum, then you shouldn't do it. If your hairstyle cannot be maintained without you using a bunch of products, it's not a style that should go for your hair. And it clogs the cuticle, it clogs the follicle. I get comments all the time that say, "Oh, but even if I wash it out the next day," listen, the hair products that you guys use are polymers. Make sure you check the live that I'm gonna leave in the comments so you can watch that full lecture on polymers. Hair products and the styling products that you guys are putting in your hair are polymers. A polymer is something that puts on a protective coating. When you guys pack all of these products that you have to pack into your hair to do your Team Natural styles, what it does, it clogs the follicle. And even though you're going to wash your hair in a week, even if you wash your hair the next day, the second that you put the polymer on the hair shaft, the second that you put the polymer on the scalp, it's going to block the cuticle and it's going to block the follicle. Polymers are meant to style the hair, and that is it. So in this case, as we've been cutting, you guys can see she has so many different uneven pieces. The different hair shaft disorder that I showed you guys. Now, this is how the hair looks under an electron microscope, right? When you look at it head on, it just looked like frizzy hair, but in reality, this is what it looked like. So we had to do a layered cut. When I do a layered cut, I get to get all of those frayed ends that may be hiding, because you'll cut the ends thinking that that's enough, but then it'll still be frizzy up the hair shaft. That is why. So I was able to put layers in, but her fringe area was really, really, really broken off because she had the same exact practices that I tell you guys about all the time. She slept in a bonnet every night the wrong way. Her hair would be wet most of the time, all of the time. And then when her hair wasn't wet, if she needed to detangle it, she was doing it with water or with conditioner. You guys, that's the wrong way. She was doing it with like apple cider vinegar, things of that nature. You guys, that is the wrong way. Okay? It is. And so I'm not trying to be combative with you. I'm not even really trying to change your mind. If you still want to do your own thing and you still want to do it the way that you want to do it, that's fine. I'm just here sharing what I've experienced through my career, and I've always booked online, so I know exactly how many clients I've had. I've had almost like, I'm a couple thousand away from 50,000 clients through my career. And the last couple of years of my career was spent doing this. And that's, to be honest, one of the main reasons why I decided to retire, because I said I didn't really come to be the fixing girl. And it was really hard because women didn't want to receive from me. Women were very argumentative, very combative, but the clients that I did have, the clients that I did let sit in my chair, after they went through a certain process before booking to minimize the amount of, drama and extraness, it would turn out really great. But at the same time, I knew that I had to step out of the industry to help transform it, because within the industry, you can't do it. You just kind of look like somebody that's just trying to get money. When I was trying to share, when I was behind the chair, it was like, "Oh, you just don't want people to do Team Natural stuff because they not sitting in your chair and you losing money. No, it is because as a licensed cosmetologist and as a scientist, I understand that hair weathering takes years to show up. So the things that look like they're working today will not work tomorrow, you guys. So make sure that you take preventative measures. If you guys need help restarting your hair growth cycle the same way she did when she went home, trust and believe she had a full pattern to follow. I now call that pattern the 7-day challenge. You could either take it, but go on one consultation with me, or just watch the hundreds and hundreds of videos that I have on the topic because wetting the hair to detangle, using shampoo, using conditioner is not the way. Okay, I have a full video in the description box telling you guys how the body or how the hair obtains and retains moisture. I also have a video explaining how and why you shouldn't detangle with water and what to do. So if you want that information, click the links in the description box. I love you guys so much. This video is like 6 years old, so I apologize for the quality. The next video will be a talking head video. You'll see me. I was so chunky. Let me just say that I was chunky. But anyway, I will be back to do a sit down talking head video where I explain to you why in detail, more detail than this, why I can't stand wash and goes and what you should do instead. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Let me know what you think. Let's talk in the comments. I will be there.